we see things like the survival instinct. That's a good thing. And we should be trying to stop ourselves from dying, right? So that's a good thing. We're built for survival. And in fact, I think that there's something really important even in seeing Christ in his humanity. That in the garden, in his suffering, he was anticipating death. He was anticipating his own death. And I don't think it was just a matter of anticipating suffering, the physical suffering of the crucifixion. I think it's because death is a terribly cosmic absurdity and a cosmic tragedy, and it's not meant to be like this. God did not make us to actually die, right? So this whole thing is like, it's not meant to be like this. And what we can see here is that this is a disruption to our very human, our whole constitution. Like everything in us is meant to go on and live, and yet this reality is in our face that we're dying. And what happens is that we want to ignore that reality. We want to run away from that reality. We want to hide from it. We want to live in this illusion that somehow we can get around this or get away from this or avoid this or solve this problem of death. But there it is, staring us in the face. And there it was, staring Christ in the face, in that suffering in the garden, in his agony. And we have to learn something from that, because Christ's humanity was perfect. So it's not because he had an anxiety disorder. It's not because he was imperfect in some way. It's because he was living out the perfection of his humanity. And it makes sense for our humanity to be terrified at death. We're supposed to be. But we have to go beyond that. The garden, the agony in the garden, Good Friday is not the end of the story. And so we have to remember what this whole story is pointing towards, where this is ordered towards. And right now, as we're looking around, as we're seeing death in the world in a way that we've not ever experienced, as we're seeing our world being turned upside down, we are being confronted with this reality of death in a way that pierces through the veil of illusion, if we let it. Of course, there's ways that people are still doubling down on thickening the veil and repairing the veil of illusion. But we can't get around this, and we're not supposed to. That's why this pandemic is actually a gift from God. If we have eyes to see and ears to hear, if we have faith, and if our faith really means something to us, if we take it seriously, there is not a single Christian that should be panicking right now. There's not a single Christian who knows the story, who knows what happens in the end, who knows what the empty tomb means on Sunday, that should be panicking right now. Whether it's spiritual, and we're entering into the meditations of Lent and Good Friday, going into the Easter Triduum, or if we're in a worldwide pandemic where people are dying, the economy is getting turned upside down, we're losing jobs, people are getting sick, we're afraid of going to the grocery store, there are no groceries at the grocery store, there's no more toilet paper or whatever else, whether we're being ridiculous or if there's something actually really serious. The whole point is, nobody should be panicking right now. If you're Christian, if you know the truth about what actually happens on Sunday, even if we're in Good Friday right now, but we build this illusion that's part of our humanity. Do we want to go into the suffering? Do we want to feel the terror of confronting our own death? No, of course not. The disciples didn't even want to confront the terror of Jesus' death, even if it wasn't their own death. They fell asleep in the garden. Falling asleep is a defense mechanism. Okay, one of the theoreticians, the founders of the theory that Catholic Psych Institute is built on. His name is Harry Stack Sullivan, interpersonal psychodynamic therapy. And he had this, he coined this term for a defense mechanism called somnolent detachment. Somnolent detachment is how he described babies who were so filled with anxiety that they actually just went to sleep. It's a way to avoid the difficulty, okay? I think the apostles in the garden with Christ were experiencing some somnolent detachment. Okay, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but kind of serious. We're all falling asleep on our own impending death. That's the world we've built up for ourselves. That's the illusion that we live in. Until we're forced to confront death. So why does this happen? Deathbed conversions, right? Or when somebody close to you dies, your whole world gets turned upside down. Well, the whole world's world gets turned upside down right now in the midst of this pandemic. And what are we doing? What are we actually doing to transform the ways that we see ourselves and the ways that we are living our life? Please listen to what I'm saying right now. If you're listening to me, it doesn't matter if you're a bishop, if you're a priest, if you're a father, a mother, a speaker, a listener, if you're a student or a teacher, if you're single or if you've got a family, if you have your job or if you lost your job, if you're sick or if you're well, every single one of us right now has one question to ask ourselves and one question to answer. What am I holding back and not giving to God? What am I clinging to still? What am I attached to? Because every single one of us is attached to something. And right now, in Good Friday, in the Easter Triduum, this is the point. This is what it's supposed to be. Every year, we go through this. Every year, we go through the cycle. Yay, let's celebrate on Christmas. Let's go through the suffering of Lent. Let's go into the darkness of Good Friday. Yay, we're celebrating again on Easter Sunday, right? The cycle. What's the point of the cycle? The point of the cycle is that we're supposed to be looking inside ourselves and actually converting. We're supposed to be transforming. We're supposed to be dying to self. What does that mean? Give up the things you're clinging to. But we're so lazy and so afraid of looking and actually realizing why we need to do this and where this is going and what the point is. But God has given us a gift. God has loved us. He loves us so much that He's breaking through that laziness and that fear, the complacency. And He's like, okay, if you're not going to do it on your own, if you're not going to really probe deeply and figure out what the heck you're holding on to, I'm going to help you. Because I love you that much. I want you to be in union with me. I want you to let go of everything you're holding on to so you can receive everything I have to give you. Do you see that? When we're clinging to something for ourselves, we can't receive anything else. And God's like, let go of it. Let go of your vision of the perfect marriage. Let go of your vision of the perfect job. Let go of your vision of what your kids are supposed to act like. Let go of your vision of whatever your life is supposed to be like. Whatever it's supposed to be. Let it go. What are you holding on to? The Mass has to be in Latin, and you have to be looking in a certain direction. Or, oh, no, we need to have charismatic prayer. Otherwise, the Holy Spirit doesn't even exist. And if you're not praying charismatically, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. It's all noise. These are serious attachments. And that's like one end of the spectrum, right? Then there's the other end of the spectrum. Like, the bishops are like, oh, we've got to do this and XYZ and annual appeal and capital campaign and this is what it's supposed to be and I have to make sure I look this way and people can't judge and I don't want the institution to say this or that. Or, you know, what? Well, if we say that being gay is wrong, then we're going to cause all sorts of problems. Then, you know, we're not going to make any more money anymore because, well, what if they close down the door? Da-da-da-da, it's supposed to be like this. Okay? If I do these prayers, if I say these things, if my job doesn't look a certain way, if my relationship doesn't look a certain way, if XYZ, it doesn't matter. It's across the board. Every single person, whether you're close in the faith, whether you're far away from God, whether you've been doing this for years, or whether you're freshly converted, old, young, every single person right now, your entire world is being flipped upside down for a reason. For a reason. Not so that you can figure out the best online delivery service to get your toilet paper and your groceries. That is not what to spend this time on figuring out.